Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief for Invest Fighter Pot Precision on a daily basis. Today, we're going to talk about the exciting new Bitcoin Futures ETF. I don't know if this thing's going to take off, but I'd imagine that it will. I don't really plan on investing on it today. I may trade it a little bit. We shall see when it opens and how it acts right away because I can't really see it dropping. But it looks like it's going to open up sometime today. The SEC did not step in and block it from opening today. So ticker symbol is BITO. And again, it's futures. It's not owning Bitcoin outright. There's other ways to, you can of course own Bitcoin outright through Coinbase or whatever. If you want exposure to through the market, I'll get into the different ways that I have exposure to it for myself and my clients. So I don't know so much about this ETF, but I do think that the fact that it was allowed to open, or it looks like it's going to be allowed to open, is a big move. And of course, the spot price of Bitcoin's up to almost 63,000 today, which is closing in on the record from, when was that? Back in May or so. So, it started the quarter, 19 days ago at 30,000, and basically it's doubled since. At my investor brief, I said crypto would be one of the main themes for Q4 as people look to diversify away from the markets. Remember, Q4 started a little bit ugly with the overall market, and then since then, the last 4 days have been kind of straight up. But people do get spooked. They're spooked about the tax reform, spooked about inflation, and they're looking for answers that are outside of the traditional market. If you're, wealthy already, sort of thing, it's a good way to diversify. I try to treat crypto like gold, up to 10% of your portfolio as a store of value. You can do that if that's your thing. If you do not like crypto at all, don't do it. This is not a fear of missing out thing. If you are younger or earlier on in your investing career, or if you're trying to make up for lost times, if you want to take a little larger position in crypto, you can realize you're taking the risk at that point. And you're saying to yourself, okay, I don't know the answer to this. Don't be arrogant enough to think you know the future. But you think I think this is a good place for investment. I think I can get, multiples of return over years in crypto. Then you can buy a bunch of it. Just once you make yourself wealthy, if you buy it and get wealthy off crypto, don't forget to diversify some out of it. Just like folks are diversifying out of the market right now that has been going up for 20 plus years or 40 or 60. Same sort of thing. If you happen to be if you time your purchase right in crypto and you make your wealth that way, don't forget to diversify into real estate and into the market, into equities and bonds, just like you would be diversifying out of that stuff. So that's the prudent thing to do. Okay. The topic of the day is what are futures? Like I said, the Bitcoin ETF that we're talking about is a futures ETF. It is not a spot price. It does not actually own the underlying asset. It owns contracts betting for or against the underlying asset. So if you don't quite understand that, you need to think about that a little bit. Again, I'll show you the Investopedia page for futures just to kind of talk to a little bit of it. But a lot of this, you might have to sit down and actually look at it at your own pace and truly try to figure out what's going on. When you think futures contracts, I think a lot of people think of the movie Trading Places from back in the day, again, showing my age there. But, that was all about orange juice futures, right? And futures contracts, and actually did a pretty good job in the movie of breaking down what they were. And futures were something that used to be only reserved for like the professional investor. Well, futures have kind of gone mainstream. I'd spend some time in Iowa with my family, and crop futures and hog futures and things to do with the farm were in place almost all the time because that way they could sell their products through sell their produce, whether it's animals or crops. They could lock in their price early. Airlines do it with gas futures, right? So they don't have a big wave in fuel price, oil price, and can crush them, right? So they lock in futures down the road. So anyhow, that's what you're doing in the ETF. We'll get into what are futures. As far as the long and short stuff today, not a whole lot in motion this morning. The markets are in green across the board. So I like the longs a little bit better. BMRA, BioAmerica, is on the move higher right now off of earnings. And then Ag Eagle, if you've heard of this name, it's a defense name. It's a UAV maker, bought Parrot. They didn't outright buy Parrot. That's a French UAV maker, but they bought a subsidiary, wholly owned subsidiary of Parrot to make themselves a little bit bigger. And that stock's been absolutely crushed So it's poised to go higher this morning. We shall see. As far as shorts out there, IO is off 7%, and WINT is off 8% as well. Again, not really good theses to go with that though. All right, if you're catching us on replay, make sure you subscribe, hit the notifications bell. If you want to come into the room live, it's $25 a month. Just reach out through the website and you can come on in. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. Here's the lineup card for today on Tuesday, October 19th. Standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence before acting upon anything you hear this morning. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, our mission objectives, as always, grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. You could almost claim the cryptocurrency is a protect your money asset. I don't know. And I've never professed to know the end of the story for cryptos, but I do know that after sitting on the sidelines for a long time and educating myself, that I do think that basically the exposure that you should have is either Bitcoin directly or Ethereum directly. The rest have enough concerns out there, maybe Ripple, you could talk me into that. The rest just don't have enough staying power on their own. For me, who's a best of breed investor in individual stocks and ETFs, I don't really take the risk. I don't get out on the tail too far of the risk as well. I'm not trying to find things that can go up 20x. I'm trying to find things that go up slow and steady over time that have very little downside. So it's tough in the crypto world. So that's why I stay mainstream again with Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's also the CRPT, which is the cryptocurrency kind of ETF, which doesn't hold the cryptos, but holds all the other things that around cryptos, right? Like Coinbase and several other companies that are out there that are directly around the crypto space that feed off it, if you will. It's like an internet ETF. Sort of thing. With that, so that's how I'd say get your exposure. So it's part of the protect your money. If you believe inflation is going to continue to run rampant, obviously we just had the 5.9% COLA announced earlier this month. If we do that year over year, that's going to be a lot of inflation, right? Normally we try to keep the inflation the Fed does around 2%. We've undershot that for years, so it's not uncommon for it to kind of snap back, little reversion to the mean sort of thing. Going forward, a lot of people are concerned that all the money printing is going to cause inflation. It doesn't necessarily on its own cause inflation. It didn't through all the quantitative easing that we had through 2007, 2009, and then the after effects of that. However, no one really has a crystal ball on inflation either. So you want to own hard assets. You want to own real estate. You want to own stocks, and you want to own crypto because crypto will inflate right with inflation. So basically, that's your hedge. The two things you don't want to be in are bond funds and cash in the bank. Those tend to get slaughtered during an inflationary environment. So a little bit of why crypto. Again, protect your money, yes. Grow your money, yes. But a lot of risks there. It's not right for everybody, and I'm not trying to talk you into it. Do your own due diligence for hopping in. What are futures is our question of the day. We'll get to that. Our flow will be long, short, open, short, long. We'll do a market review. We're in the green across the board. It's about the fifth day up as far as the market. So really pretty nice bounce. We'll look at the chart here in a little bit. We'll do a headline review around the world. We'll look at crypto spot price 62.5 and Bitcoin. Just closing in on the record there. We'll look at CRPT, which is the ETF I just talked about. We'll talk about my MicroStrategy, which is MSTR. That's my Bitcoin proxy, Ethereum, and then Grayscale Bitcoin Trust as well. BITO will probably not be open while we're on air, but we'll keep it up on a screen just in case it does. All right, contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, let's take a look at these futures I keep talking about. Refresh those for you and see how we're doing this morning. So about 1/3% across the board. So J&J had fantastic earnings this morning and guided up. So that's kind of the big dog in the market this morning that's really lifting the market, if you will. And a lot of the other earnings have come in strong, right? So we get markets tend to be a little melodramatic in the fact that once things start going negative, then everybody goes negative. But then once you get a few things of positivity, then everybody's like, yeah. So from one extreme to the other, right? So you always want to try to capture that and take advantage of that. All right, in Europe, we're mixed and light pretty much on the trading there. Asia is up across the board, including 1.5% in Hong Kong. I'm just looking at some, yep, it looks like tech stocks are taking higher there. US 10 years up over 1.6, been kind of on a steady climb, so we got to watch out for that. Oil hanging out above 80. Gold and silver, a little bit of love. Gosh, nice jump in silver. That's interesting. Haven't seen that in a while. And then, of course, here's the Bitcoin we're talking about, 62.3 right now. Ethereum, it's at 38. Some people are calling 100,000 in Bitcoin by the end of the year and 5,000 for Ethereum. Here's in the investing world, people say that 9 finds 10, which is a weird way of saying when something hits $9, it tends to track right to 10. Just because it's so close and so many people have that as a target, it just happens to go there. I think that could happen in this case. I really do think 100,000 by the end of the year for Bitcoin is, as crazy as that seems, right? I mean, it seems just ridiculous and dumb, but I think it could happen. And if you follow Kathy Wood and everything she talks about, she's talking 500,000 is where it's going. So if that's the case, you're looking at, 10x from here, 9x or so. So interesting. Again, at your own risk, of course. All right, our headlines. Apple had their big event yesterday. It released some pretty expensive MacBooks. I think they solved there's an article about they solved a lot of problems because they put, instead of just having the 2 Thunderbolt ports, they actually put several of the other ports back into their larger model. Again, they're 14 and 16 inch now. So people are pretty excited about that. But again, earnings are coming up. We'll see. They probably will beat earnings. It's going to be tough for the guidance, though, again, which is for them to guide up with all the supply chain issues that we have. Teladoc, Kathy Wood's talking about that. I looked at the stock this morning. It has literally been left for dead, so maybe it is time to invest. I'm going to look at that a little bit harder today. All right. Here, if you remember the big story with Southwest, I got caught up in this. I missed a wedding because of this. So Southwest drops their plan to boot their unvaccinated staff starting in December, right? I had heard November 23rd was the date that kind of caused it all. So anyhow, they got rid of that plan. So life should be back to normal in the flying world. Okay, let's take a look real quick at this article. Is the first Bitcoin futures ETF set to begin trading this week. Again, there's your BITO, is your ticker symbol. Again, we'll take a look at this. Maybe come back tomorrow if there's some interesting movement in the trading, or if it gets trumped, we'll certainly talk about it tomorrow, meaning it doesn't open. But again, that's what it's slated to debut today under that ticker symbol. So if you put that on your watch list, you can watch that. I'll have it up all day long just to see what's going on in that space. All right. As far as MicroStrategy, which is MSTR here, this is my Bitcoin proxy, if you will. Got down to this 500 level. It's up at 740 now, and it's been kind of a steady move higher. So, for fourth quarter. So pretty nice move. I think it continues higher, and you get a software company in addition to the Bitcoin exposure. Michael Saylor is the CEO of this company. He loaded up the balance sheet with Bitcoin. So that's why I use it as a Bitcoin proxy instead of holding the asset outright. All right, market's going to open here in about 20 seconds. Let's take a break for now, and we'll be back with you at the open. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target play of the day. You have 4 screens in front of you on the TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform. These are all 1-minute charts. This is the S&P 500 all the way to the left. Here's the opening bell. All right, we're off to the races. We have BMRA long, which is right here. You can see it's up 5.6%. Earnings is the reason it is gapping up. And then you have IO, which is short. That's already gone from 7% to 11%, which is out of our window. So let's switch to WINT. That's a little better. Ooh, 18%. Ooh, can't do that one either. Switch to UAVS. So this would be 2 longs now. 2 longs, UAVS. Okay, much better. And of course, off to the right, I have BITO. That's the Bitcoin Futures ETF. In case it starts trading, we want to check it out. It looks like it's going to open at 40. Then maybe that just auto prints 40. I mean, this is auto printing December 31st, 69. So, I mean, who knows what's going on until it actually trades over here. All right, so let's look for a trade this morning. One of our two longs. Again, BMRA is earnings. UAVS is off of acquiring a subsidiary of Parrot. So we do have the volume in both. However, when you look at the need a 3-cent stop over here in UAVS, which could be kind of tough. Certainly covering the low a day would be 293. So I'd be in at 296. It's already up past that. If you were to take it up here and use a 6-cent stop, then you're messing up the math, right? Because then, well, that's a 2% move from here. So times 3, which is again a 6% move. So the stock would have to be up 13% for you to make money. Hey, the BITO opened. Let's just look at this for just a second. All right, so we have a green candlestick here. So that means the first trade took place at 40.86, and now it's trading in between that all the way up to 41.03. Off in a minute too. Let's see, 300,000 shares. So it looks like people just kind of threw a dart at this. I think people will buy it all day. So let's take this long. 40, can't do math, 40.90 with a 25-cent stop would be 41.15. There, we're in it long, 41.15. 41.15 with a, come on. I just don't think anybody's selling this. That's why I'm more than comfortable taking it long. So, all right, we're in it at 41.15 long. Our stop is at 40.90, so that's a 25-cent stop. We'll do our math here in a second. Let me get the arrow drawn. Kind of hopped in that quick. We'll make sure that eliminate all confusion. You can still grab it here if you want. All right, there's our arrow. So 41.15 is the entry price. So 41.40 would be our first stop. 41.65 is the second stop, and then 41.90 is your exit. So you can set those up, and again, protect yourself down here on 40.90. So if it drops down to 40.90, the only reason it would drop is people are trading it, right, to take their gains. So I think it comes in a little bit here, maybe down to 41, and then shoots higher, or just continues higher. So fun to watch, brand new holding. So you've already got what? 300,000, 600,000, 250,000 shares. I would imagine these, I don't know. I could get into level 2, which let's dork out for just a second. BITO. All right, here's your level 2 on this. Again, if you're in the trade, you have to have it pulled. You can watch the spot price over here. It's 41.34. Is how you track this. If you don't deal with level 2 much, again, I pay for this. So when there's large volume, it doesn't matter, right? There's enough. And these are all the transactions going off to the right, which again is just a kind of a spaz chart right now. These are all the orders that are sitting out there. And again, as they get filled, they get taken off the top. So whenever this side, whenever the ask touches the bid, then the transaction happens and it goes away. Where level 2 is really more useful is when you get into lower trade stuff, where you can go in and actually see the orders that are sitting there, so you can set your limit price kind of more precisely, if you will. All right, we're at that 2R point 1.5R. Again, I'm watching the price over here to the right. You can also watch the price. I thought it was up the top. Here it is. The bid ask bouncing around to see where it is. But, why not go back to the actual chart and where you can see it easy, right? So let's draw our lines on here. We said 41.40 is the first R point. So have that made easy. 41.65 is the next R point. That just got made right there. And our exit point is 41.90. So again, holding this till we get to the exit, which I think we will see here shortly. So BITO opened. I'm getting ready to close it out because I think it's going to go straight to it. Again, 40 was what we saw up here. And if you watched the show from the beginning, upper right corner, we saw 40. So we anticipated that's where it was open. We had 300 shares getting bought there right away. And then basically 5 straight minutes up and we're back out. It just touched 41.90. So nice trade. So why didn't I do what I normally do and cover all the way down? Well, I wasn't really worried about this thing backing up. So I used a little bit of a tighter stop. Normally at $41, you'd use a 40-cent stop. I use 25-cent stop so we could hit it quicker. If you want to hold on to this, that's fine. A lot of things ended up, trading, they get on fire. I'd rather trade and be out of it than I would hold on to this for right now because I just don't know, right? I don't know the thesis. I mean, I know the thesis, I guess, but I don't know if this is going to be a moneymaker or not, but certainly a nice trade for the morning. Let's go back to UAVS. Would that have worked? Well, it did work. I wasn't looking at it at all. To cover at 292, you're in at 295, and then 3-cent moves would be 298, 301, 304. So that one worked as well. BMRA would not have worked. Let's look at our shorts real quick that we talked about. IO was one of the shorts, down 12%. This would have backed up on you. That would not have worked. Unless you waited for it to back up and then took it short up here. Again, tough entry at that point. And then our other short was WINT, Windtree Therapeutics. And it's down 50%, but that's why you don't take these when they fall down so far. They get outside of that 10% land. And it's tough to take them because it's really gone straight up since there, right? So you would have to have been in and out during this first minute bar, and good luck with that. That is more of a dart throw. All right, let's zoom out from our holdings, from the day trading stuff and on into the bigger picture. Looking off to the left here, you have Dominion being the leader of the pack there at 3.7, silver up 3.4. Again, don't know what's causing that. Alibaba up a little bit, 2.5%. I like it. Largely left Alibaba, except I have some personally, and it's tough with the Chinese government and the crackdown and everything that's going on. But I think a ton of money is going to be made in that space for sure. It's one of the investable themes of fourth quarter. All right, DraftKings bouncing, Palantir, Roblox, some of the favorite. There's Ethereum, ETHE. KWeb, it's Chinese internet, that's bouncing. ESPO is esports, have several folks in that. So is Hero. Those tend to travel together. Qclean, clean energy. So there's MSTR. There's what I was looking for as far as our Bitcoin proxy. That's up 1% today. All right, let's see what's going down out there. Revive Therapeutics, Torque going down, CFWJ. These are all speculative names for the most part. The first real name I would say up here, as far, I don't mean real as in the others don't exist. I'm saying as far as a large company would be AMD. IBM got a lot of bad press yesterday, saying that it's cooking the books and doing some financial engineering. Yikes. I really can't see IBM doing that. They're kind of too big to cook the books, in my opinion, but certainly got some negativity out of that and a few other names in the red, but for the most part, we're in the green, setting up nicely for the rest of the day. All right, I want to come back to, I want to show one more thing while we're here. I didn't do the full market. Here's where we are with the overall markets. You think, okay, yeah, it kind of got ugly in here for a while, but we've really had 4 strong days in a row, and today we're in the green as well. So that adds a lot of strength as to where we were. Was this a buyable dip? I did not buy the dip for the large part. I did some reorganization, but it wasn't really just all out buying because I did not think we'd get this bounce. I think this bounce is a little tentative. I wouldn't be anxious to be throwing money to work here and going long on stuff. You can still put money in, but you need to put it in smartly into specific holdings that are poised to go higher, but not necessarily just the overall market right here. So that's my take. All right, let's look at the we looked at the MicroStrategy chart. Let's go over and talk futures, and then I will let you go for the day. So again, this BITO that we just traded, it's open. First one ever, exciting stuff, Bitcoin strategy ETF. So strategy means it's derivatives. It's not the underlying asset. So futures are derivative financial contracts that obligate the parties to transact an asset at a predetermined future date and price. The easiest way to really understand all those words is when you think of like the two examples I used. Airlines, obviously they can't just go to the pump and buy their fuel every day just because there are, it fluctuates too much and they would need too much of it, right? To where if there was a jump one way or the other, it would affect them financially. Obviously, if it dropped significantly, they would benefit, but they don't want to take that risk. So what do? They contract with folks to buy their fuel at the future price. So, they find a seller that says, okay, 6 months from now or 3 years from now, you can buy fuel from us at such and such a price. And they agree to that contract. That's all a futures contract is. That the seller knows what they're going to get paid and the buyer knows what they're paying. Okay. Take that to the second example I used, or it was actually the first example was in, the farm agriculture business, I should say more correctly. Crop prices, you can sell your crops as long as the crops exist, you can sell them before you grow them, right? You can agree to that. You can agree to that with your livestock as well, to where you kind of lock in the prices ahead of time. So it doesn't take the risk away, but it reduces the fluctuation significantly, if you will. Most people are happy to do that. When you're in a boom or bust industry like airlines, you don't fly for a few days, you're broke. Yep. And then, in the farm industry, same thing. You run into a couple of bad crops or, something happens with your livestock, a disease, something like that, and you can be wiped out financially. So that's why they do that. All right. That's really all I'm going to talk about. The rest of this is really financial specific legalese. You can read through it on your own. And again, that's futures. What are futures on Investopedia? So with that, good trade today, and we'll be back with you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.